Hey, would you look at that? It's the newest Tesla Cybertruck. Nice. But what's this? A Ford Model T from 1908. What's so fascinating about these two cars is not what you think. You see, one of them is an advanced piece of technology. This one even has autopilot, but the other one isn't far behind. Yup, that's right. Both of these cars changed the world in more ways than one. You see, the Ford Motor Company was founded by this guy, Henry Ford. He wanted to make a motor car that was affordable for the average person, not just the rich. Prior to this, automobiles were seen as a luxury item, something that only the wealthy elite could afford. But Ford changed all of that with the Model T. It was simple, efficient, and most importantly, cheap. In fact, by 1924, the price of a Model T had dropped so low that a worker making $3 a day could afford to buy one in his spare time. And that was huge because it made the dream of owning a car a reality for millions of people. That's why whenever someone says, "I'm going to buy a Ford," they mean a car that's reliable, cheap, and practical. Even today, the Ford F-Series pickup truck embodies these values. It's no frills, just a good, solid, hard-working vehicle that gets the job done. But you know, back in the early 1900s, the Model T wasn't the only car on the market. There were tons of different makes and models to choose from. But over time, Ford's competitors either went bankrupt or were bought out by Ford himself. That's because the Model T was not only cheap, it was also incredibly popular. People loved the cars so much that Ford couldn't make them fast enough. They had to put workers on 24-hour shifts just to keep up with demand. So who are Ford's biggest competitors and what happened to them? Well, first off, there was General Motors, or GM for short. They were founded by this guy, William C. Durant. He started the company in 1908, just 1 year after the Ford Motor Company was founded. But unlike Ford, Durant wanted to create a car that was more luxurious, a car that would appeal to the wealthy elite. He also wanted to create a massive car company that would put Ford to shame. And he almost did, too. At one point, GM was selling twice as many cars as Ford. But then the Great Depression hit, and everything changed. See, when the economy took a nosedive, people stopped buying expensive, luxurious cars. They wanted something cheaper, something like a Model T. And that hurt GM badly. They had to lay off thousands of workers and close down several factories. To make matters worse, Ford kept producing the Model T even after the Great Depression hit, which meant he still had workers employed and cars being produced. So in the end, Ford won the war of the car companies, and GM was left to pick up the pieces. But what about all the other car companies that were around during the early 1900s? Well, some of them were bought out by Ford, like the makers of the Quadra, but others were simply left behind, like the Studebaker brothers. You see, they made a pretty good car, but they didn't have the money to compete with Ford or GM. So eventually, they went out of business. Others, like the Dodge brothers, were bought out by bigger companies, and yet others, like Oldsmobile, simply faded into obscurity. The only ones who came close to beating Ford were the Chevrolet brothers, who founded a company called Cadillac. Their cars were just as popular as the Model T, but they sold their company to GM in 1910, so they never got the chance to go head-to-head with Ford. In the end, the Model T was a car that changed the world. It made the dream of owning a car a reality for millions of people, and it put the United States on wheels. But what do you think? Which car is better? The Model T or the Tesla Cyber? Let me know in the comments below.